Well, welcome back to Thoughts While Thinking. And the opinions expressed in this video are mine and mine alone and nobody else's. And that includes sponsors, associates, or anybody else. They're just mine, my thinking, my thinking while I'm thinking. And I wish you a welcome back to Thoughts While Thinking and rearranging my prejudices. And I think my prejudices are pretty well rearranged to where they're based on pretty much factual information. And I guess a prejudice is not all that bad if it's the truth. Anyway, we're talking about the critical race theory and the first, second, and third grade kids today, and how a lot different it was back then when I was in school and what it is now. Well, these first graders, they just want to learn and play and have games and stuff like that in school. And they get in this uh, critical race and they start saying, well, who are you? Well, they think they're Jack or Jane or Bill or Wanda or whatever their name is, and that's who they think they are. And they think they're a boy or a girl, and that's pretty simple. But they come in here and says, "Who do you say you are?" Well, these kids by that age, they play like they're anybody. They say they're Superman. They say they're Wonder Woman. They say they're Batman, and they say they're Cowboy Bill or SpongeBob Fish or whatever it is, or maybe they're one of the puppets. And Disney has just gone off the deep end along with Apple on this thing, and they're outlawing boys and girls and gentlemen and ladies and any reference to any kind of gender. Just you can't even be a mother. You're a birth person. And you're a person. You're not an individual. You're just a person. But they're saying they're doing this to create that magical moment for young children who apparently have already considered whether or not they identify with their biological sex. Now, I bet you they ain't 1 in 100 million that do that at that age. They're just not concerned with it, I don't think. But, brainwashing starts early this day and age, and Disney and uh, all of them are out about it, and that mass media and high tech, Facebook, Twitter, and all those places. And they're got this gender unicorn they're pushing on those kids. Well, this unicorn is something that the kids really like. They like that unicorn. I got a couple of granddaughters that think that unicorn is really something. They got a unicorn stuffed doll that they love and carry around, and so whatever that unicorn tells them on TV in the first, second, third grade or so, they're going to grab onto it, and they also that kind of goes along with the same gender person they got. And then they're wanting the parents to do a DNA test on those first, second, third grade kids to see if they're really boys or girls. I don't understand that either. But anyway, if you repeat a lie often enough in the politics and religion, it becomes the truth. And that's what they're doing, and they're pushing it in our little minds of mush. And we got to think about that. That genderbread person. Well, now at school, they got some nice little classrooms and learning areas, and they got a lot of games and stuff that they teach by. It's a whole lot different reading, writing, and arithmetic like I had, and they got computers and all that stuff. And then, Back then, when I was there, we just had reading, writing, and arithmetic, and we had two or three grades in one room. And the teacher would teach one grade, and we're supposed to be doing our homework, and while she was teaching another grade, but we'd be there listening and not doing too well, or at least I wasn't. And we had those desks, and they had ink wells in them and ink pens, and so you had to dip your pen in that well and write a little while, and you run out of ink, you dip it again. You kind of like an old quill, a little better than quill. But anyway, it also provided a lot of humor. Us boys that didn't, girls didn't like it very much, but that's the way we flirted with girls back then. But if you called it flirting, we would deny it all the way over because we was too tough to like a girl. And now then, well, our lunches, man, these kids, they have a good lunch every day, and they enjoy it. And back then, we carried our lunch to school in old bags and old syrup cans. And like in my old syrup can, I had a big old biscuit and a big old chunk of ham and maybe an old cold tater. And I'd trade that. I would trade that ham and biscuit to some of the other kids that were kind of cityfied, and they had bought their lunch, and it was bologna and light bread, and I'd trade them for that bologna and light bread because it was store bought. We raised all our food, and we had very little store bought stuff. But anyway, now on recess, they've got all kinds of contraptions to play and enjoy the recreation when they're not in there learning and being browbeaten and all that stuff. And this is the way we had it back then. We had swings, and we had rocks for baseball bases and stuff like that. And we had big old sticks that we used, and so anyway, we played a little ball too. We played a little mumble pig, and now then, after school, the kids, they just ride their bicycles and they play their soccer, and they ride their bicycles and jump, and they have a little league. And then we got home, we uh, pitched a little hay that fed the cows and fed the pigs and the chickens. And then if we had something else to do, my dad put me on that old tractor and kind of steer it until he was ready for it to stop. And we also the garden. And now then, we were just talking about this critical race theory. And old Walker, I think we got it nailed down pretty good. He says, I too once was a man trapped in a woman's body, but then I was born. Well, that's pretty well in nature. And all we got to do is look. We got to look. That's all it takes to find out what kind of gender we are. But this LGBT propaganda just keeps tooting that old loud horn in our ears, and they're trying to save my life and to make me do something I'm different. And I just bounced off the wall with all of that noise. And old Clint, he has a good idea about this thing. He says a good kick in the balls will solve that gender problem. Boy, you'll know what that is pretty quick. And again, the opinions expressed here are mine and mine alone and nobody else's. And that's my thoughts while thinking and rearranging my prejudices and giving, I hope, you something to think about and tell what's going on. And remember, the Constitution limits the power of government, not the power of the people. And that's not what seeing happening today. And that's my thoughts while thinking. And goodbye, and we'll see you on the flip side. And I hope you have a happy day.